Smiling Friends is probably one of the funniest cartoons of all time and definitely one of the best currently airing. It's full of characters who touch the hearts and minds of everyone who might watch it, so don't tell DJ Spit about this part, but we're gonna have to get into your head, man.
Get out of my head! No, nobody's touching your head, man!
Because today, we're here to tell you what your favorite Smiling Friends character says about you. We've decided to order today's video alphabetically, and I think you all know what that means. Come here, Allan, you crazy character. Although his tasks are always simpler on paper than Charlie's or Pim's, Allan's adventures usually go about as smoothly as a typical regular show episode. A shopping trip for paper clips, hey, that rhymed, turns into like 4 different movie plot lines at once, and ultimately puts him on the wrong end of his yandere Landlord. If Allan is your favorite character, you're probably not an easy person to please, but we don't mean that in a bad way. You just like things in a very specific way, and you're hesitant to embrace change or confrontation. You're the type who will do whatever it takes to maintain stability, always noticing the details, and more specifically, whichever ones need to be fixed. See, that's the good thing about perfectionism. Sure, it'll stress you out when nothing's going your way, but you're the last person who will give up on trying to fix it. Alright, it's time to move on to the next character, and you. Do you want a chicken nugget? No? Oh, well, the CEO was unlikely to share them anyway. While we wouldn't call the CEO a fan favorite by any means, he's definitely one of the more memorable antagonists in the series so far. So we'd be shocked if no one at least had him up there in their favorite characters list. If that's true of you, then there's lost love that you fear you'll never regain. Abandoned game franchises. Whether it's a series that'll surely get that long-awaited sequel any day now, like Sly Cooper, or a long-forgotten series of games that have seemingly been left behind, like the F-Zero series, or even a game that's been delayed to hell and back. Silk Song will come any day now. Heck, we all know those weirdly specific retro games we dearly miss, but don't know how to talk about it? I miss you, Frogger. All that is to say, we all get it, and if the CEO is your favorite, you probably felt vindicated by how he was portrayed. When a company clearly doesn't care about what the fans want, it's easy to feel betrayed, so showing the CEO as a selfish, morbidly obese neckbeard with a chicken nugget addiction felt just like the roast you needed to keep going. Cheer up, guys. I'm sure they'll localize Mother 3 one day. Next up, we have a character who is surely a lot of people's favorite, Charlie. Charlie needs no introduction, being the absolute essence of an alpha male. Every ensemble cast needs an everyman, and Charlie fits the bill just perfectly. Overall, he's not perfect, given how he loses his temper and can be a bit impulsive, but at the end of the day, he's a good guy who cares about helping people and can ultimately be counted on by his friends, even if it means ditching a frickin' awesome party to go see UFOs with a bunch of squares. His words, not mine. If Charlie is your favorite, we have one word to describe you. Confident. And now you might have heard us say that and immediately denied the confident allegations, and to that I say, you've reached the first step to self-confidence, not feeling the need to tell people how confident you are. You're just a down-to-earth, realistic person. The world is a weird, messed up place, and you're aware of that, so your philosophy is to simply accept that and enjoy life however you can, as authentically as you can. That's not to say you don't get overwhelmed at times, though, and you're probably pretty envious of Charlie's ability to openly talk about just how bizarre the world is without having a full-on mental breakdown. But all in all, you're one of those enviable folks who can take whatever life throws at you, even if it can be exhausting. Now let's talk about the man you should add on speed dial just in case of oblivion infestation, Desmond. If Desmond is your favorite character, man, are you okay? Don't hear me wrong, Desmond's a cool guy. It's just weird to see a show jam-packed with such wacky, colorful characters and to say, yeah, I like that utterly forlorn balding man with a gun held to his temple. But in terms of positive traits, we can at least assume you value honesty. When Desmond thinks something, he says it, no matter the sheer amount of weirdness or existential horror it might imply. What's more, his story is oddly heartwarming while not betraying the show's cynical, absurdist vibes. He does end up finding purpose in life. It's just really funny that it came from shooting a small, disturbingly violent creature. In any case, we imagine the Desmond fans are honest, albeit struggling people who genuinely want to see others happy. An existential crisis might just be a Tuesday in your mind, but that doesn't mean you can't, or even won't, help others struggling with them. But, just in case, we're gonna put the suicide prevention number on screen real quick. Man, this list is making me angry, man, because we're just now getting to DJ Spit, man. Okay, first of all, amazing choice. DJ Spit has one of the best vocal performances in the series and is one of the funniest recurring characters as a result of his erratic behavior. If he's your favorite character, you're probably the absolute perfect candidate to enjoy this series. The dude's jokes all revolve around how utterly unhinged, paranoid, and unpredictable he is. That's probably your type of humor. Characters like Dale Gribble, Eric Cartman, Roger Smith, etc. will have your heart for their hilarious criminal antics. In a more practical sense, one strength it's likely that you have is your ability to laugh at scary situations. Being held at gunpoint by the same dude dude twice in one day, once as a shapeshifter, must be scary. So being able to look at a character like this and enjoy seeing him shows that you know how to not take life too seriously. Weird encounters are just one more funny story to you in a way. You're kind of optimistic. Now, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna get out of your head before things go south. Let's move on to the main antagonist of DJ Spit's debut episode, the Frowning Friends. Okay, first things first, you either main Waluigi or Wario in any game they're playable in. I hardly think I need to explain why, but just in case, these two are the evil-ish alternate twins of Pim and Charlie. Dorky villains are your bread and butter. Characters like Dr. Doofenshmirtz live rent-free in your head, and it's no different with these two. It's possible that you're one of the audience's more cynical, pessimistic members, but more so than that, I have a feeling you're one of the most likely people to make fan content for the series. I say that because the whole Frowning Friends episode seems almost like a fan fiction concept out of context. Finally, you're not, in fact, a defender of Grimm's movement to eradicate Puerto Rican people from the planet, and to any Puerto Rican people in the audience, we are not being paid by the Frowning Friends and their supporters to say that. Now it's time to move on to the next smiling friend, Glep. And honestly, I'm not sure. I feel like anyone could watch this show and come to the conclusion that Glep is the objective best character, so it's kind of hard to make any conclusion about what it says about you if he's your favorite. What do you think, Glep? You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. I totally get it now. If you're a fan of Glep, that means you're a free spirit who does and says what you want when you want. You can't keep Glep in a box after all, and you can't keep you in a box either. To just about anyone, actions speak louder than words, but for you, that goes doubly. You're the type of person who can hang out with friends without saying a word and just enjoy existing together. And as for your taste in characters in general, your favorite character is always the cute animal sidekick, or whomever comes closest to fitting that bill. It's time to talk about Grimbly. Rather, it will be right after you send us $5 for performing his iconic victory dance. We do take Venmo, or likes and subs. Really, everything that applied to the CEO's fans goes double for Grimbly, especially since he is the IP his boss sits on and does nothing with. If you're a Grimbly fan, as most good-hearted people are, you're one of the most important kinds of people, nay, two of them, a gamer and a memer. In other words, you play a crucial role in your social circles, the comic relief. What you lack in social skills, you more than make up for with your sense of humor, and don't worry, we're joking about the first half. See, what a lot of people don't get about your type is that being the funny friend doesn't mean you're a laughingstock, rather you just genuinely like to make people happy. A day where you've managed to make others laugh is a successful one in your eyes, and whether that's a simple joke, a silly little dance, or a weirdly well-made animation, you're more than happy to provide the world with the Grimbly and Grimbly-adjacent content it craves. You're also a big anti-fentanyl advocate, and you won't let Mr. Millipede's death be in vain. Speaking of losses, particularly of close friends who truly cared for you, let's take a quick detour to James. James? Really? Dude, you saw all the characters in the show and your favorite was the one who existed solely to abuse Charlie for an entire B-plot, as well as the Smiling Friends' company policy in general? Well, alright, we're nothing if not open-minded. If James is your favorite, you have a dark sense of humor to be sure. You don't think the later Family Guy seasons are too mean-spirited, heck, you might even prefer them. You've been so desensitized to seeing messed up things in the world, whether beyond the fourth wall or otherwise, that it almost feels more humorous than anything. I'm guessing that if James struck a chord with you, you've seen plenty of unsavory customers in the wild. You probably live for those Reddit stories about run-ins with obnoxious people. All of this isn't to say you're a near-heartless sadist like James here, you just love seeing a portrayal of how awful people can be. Got your nose. Up next, we have the legendary Lamb President Jimble. Okay, if Jimble is your favorite character, I've got two things I know I can say about you. You aren't easy to gross out, and you aren't easy to tick off. Seriously, this dude has to be one of the nastiest characters in the series. If Allan had been sent for this one, Smiling Friends might be down to 3 workers, and as nice as Charlie is, even he didn't have the patience to stick with Jimble and help him win the election. That's pretty understandable. The dude did end up allying the USA with a genocidal dictator by accident. Only Pim was able to encourage him to keep going, and if you somehow stuck by Jimble as a fan, I can't help but think that you want to be a Pim to someone else. Come on, you've got the story of a character who acknowledges he just wasn't meant to be in the position he's in, and to accept himself for who he is, all thanks to the love and care of just one good friend. From my experience, when you choose a more secondary character as a favorite, it can often be a result of sympathizing with their story and how they're written, or maybe just found the whole Lamb thing really funny. Either way, you've got big dreams, and most importantly, you won't compromise who you are in your pursuit of them. Grab your instrument and get ready to compose a heroic song, for next, we have Mip. The infamous main antagonist of the Enchanted Forest episode, Mip is one of the most memorable villains of the show so far. He's so over the top, especially with that heel turn in the end, that we gave him the honor of being our gold medalist of evil for the series. If Mip is your favorite, you've got a dark sense of humor. In fact, you might just have a dark sense of interests in general. Well, not like blowing up princesses or homoerotically seducing knights or anything, hopefully. You probably just like to listen to true crime stories and maybe watch predator catches. As much as you enjoy watching bad guys be bad, you enjoy watching justice be served even more. You embody the fine line between having a dark sense of humor and just being a morbid person in general. without further ado, it's time to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Boss. Okay, so remember how we said DJ Spit is beloved by fans for just how unpredictable he is? Yeah, Mr. Boss is similar in regards to his appeal. He's just as erratic as DJ Spit, if not more so, but the difference is that he isn't a truly bad person. On the contrary, Mr. Boss is a genuinely caring employer who treats his boys well. He'll play jokes on them, give them tailor-made assignments and gifts, and even write a song about how much he loves them on a whim. If Mr. Boss is your favorite character, you definitely have a preference for wild cards. But you know that all the humor in the world means nothing without heart. Basically, you don't want to take things too seriously, but you do know when to take things seriously. Your brand of weirdness is truly unique, and while it's never malicious, it might unintentionally set people on edge. But worry not, because for everyone who dislikes it, there'll be plenty more who absolutely love you for it. As unpredictable and weird as you may be, you're just as genuinely thoughtful and caring. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself, though. It's great to make others smile, but you need to make yourself smile too. Even Mr. Boss isn't above giving himself a day off to do motion capture crap or get a nice massage. Hello, Mr. Frog, hello. If you like current President-elect Mr. Frog, then you are a hedonistic force of nature who endangers everyone in your path and— oh, my bad, that's his entry in the dictionary. If Mr. Frog is your favorite character, you live by two simple words: carpe diem. While you may not agree with his lifestyle of doing hard drugs, saying unspecified slurs, and bludgeoning people to death, all on live TV, mind you, Mr. Frog's chaos is something you admire deeply. Chaos is your middle name, or at least you'd like it to be. The bottom line, really, is that you live in the moment. That could be as crazy as skydiving or as tame as deciding to go get some fast food even though you really shouldn't. In any case, you believe in making the most of every day before worrying about the future. If there's one thing that both Jesus and Mr. Frog would say, it's that each day has enough to worry about on its own. Yeah, that is not the character comparison I expected to make today, or any day. I'm so glad you've made it to our next entry, Mr. Landlord. The main villain of an Allan adventure, Mr. Landlord somehow managed to orchestrate every last event of Allan's hectic adventure to lure him to his apartment to hang out. If he's your favorite character, you respect determination, no matter how creepily or weirdly it manifests itself. Look, this guy's a legit psychopath, but you gotta respect his dedication to hanging out with Allan. The man spent $700,000 on just one afternoon and had a freaking bomb to threaten him with, implying he probably didn't even need to spend all that money. You are all about showboating if you like the Landlord, which is perfectly respectable as long as your methods and goals do not remind us of his. Petty supervillains are your favorite little niche of characters, so you're definitely looking forward to what he does when he gets out of the morgue. Just know that if there's ever a high-budget animation of one of you running away from Allan to hide away, we know exactly which character's fandom we're questioning first. I feel like it's taken way too long to reach this point, but you know, that's the alphabet, and we finally have the last of the living Smiling Friends, Pim. Okay, I've got a really simple way of describing this one. So think of classic SpongeBob. Now think of two characters, SpongeBob and Squidward. If SpongeBob is your favorite of the two, congrats, you're officially a Pim stan. Now I think we can all agree that Pim and Charlie are both awesome, but if you prefer Pim, it's likely that, predictable though it may be, you're an optimist against all odds. Like Charlie and his fans, you're a confident and authentic person, but rather than Charlie's cynical realism, you're more of a reckless optimist. Even when it seems like something's too good to be true, or like there's too little hope, you're the one who's always willing to give it a fair shot, be it a person, a product, or even just a situation in general. You can find the silver lining in just about any situation, person, etc. That said, you can also grow possessive over the things you hold most dear. Sure, your optimism might give you a slight leg over Charlie at times, but it's evened out by your tendency to envy people who have what you want, which can make you pretty reckless. Your heart is big, but your ego can be too, sometimes. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, you're a sweet, caring person who just wants to do your part to make the world a happier place, and to be happy while you're doing it. In a world that seems to grow more cynical by the day, we can always use more people who are unapologetically nice and optimistic, especially in adult cartoons. Oh, and you love cute things, like kids. Just don't scream that out loud in front of the neighbor's house, okay? For this next entry, we'll be assisting in analyzing the fans of Professor Psychotic. There's definitely something to be said about the commercials for this episode painting Professor Psychotic as a goofy, over-the-top mad scientist, only for him to just be a deeply troubled, procrastinating younger brother who just so happens to also be a goofy, over-the-top mad scientist. I'm not saying that Professor Psychotic fans are as unstable as he is, rather, you may have been at some point. Here's what I mean. I think that the fans of Daniel here sympathize with him because they know what it's like to be at their lowest point. Seeing a character like this not only reminds you of how far you've come, but it made you genuinely happy to see him get a win at the end of the episode. Either that, or you're secretly trying to create artificially sentient life in your free time, which is honestly a really ambitious hobby. Having underappreciated and or overachieving goals and hobbies might be part of your character too, so don't listen to the haters if that's the case, but also don't blame your brother for your parents' death. That's kind of messed up. Before the boss somehow ended up briefly married to Satan's daughter, there was another terrifying monster character, the Racist Forest Demon. There are two possibilities if you're a fan of his. You're either racist or you're a horror fan. Please tell us it's horror fan, or if you are racist, tell us it's Grimm, who miraculously survived an attack from the Renaissance men. We still won't approve, but we'll look forward to your next appearance in the series where the Smiling Friends teach you how to not be racist. But thankfully, for the time being, we won't have to worry about any racism here, not when Rotoscope Guy is around. Whenever there's a party, you can be sure he'll be there to either roast you or defend you from the dangers of an allegedly racist force demon. If he's your favorite, you know that professionals have standards meme? Yeah, that just about summarizes your moral beliefs. The downside of his mindset is that you might view things as more black and white than others, but the upside is that you won't hesitate to call out any injustices you see, even if you're sometimes mistaken about them. Tread lightly, though. Right or wrong, you can often go overboard with your reactions to the things that occur around you. There's a time and a place to go overboard, like when a racist cannibalistic demon breaks into your party, but just make sure you're the one in control. For our next entry, we could really go for some salties. Let me guess, like Charlie, Ketchup, and 90% of other people, you're sick and tired of all health-conscious fast food joints. I love Pim and all, but nothing about a cucumber burger sounds remotely appetizing. You're among the most outspoken activists for a proper serving at Chipotle ever since the sizes decreased. But hopefully you aren't one of those people recording the workers to pressure them into giving it to you. At the end of the day, you're a person who knows your worth and will fight for it. There's no sense living if you can't enjoy life after all, but remember that moderation is key. A little fast food here and there is great. Emphasis on a little and here and there. And we can't neglect to mention Salty's mascots either. If these guys are your favorites, it's likely that the Salty Murder Mystery episode is your favorite. And therefore, it's even more likely that crime in general is an interesting subject for you. Whether you love a good true crime series or you even want to get into forensics and detective work yourself, you're willing to look into the stuff nobody else is willing to. You don't condone evil people, but you'll admit the world would be less interesting without them. Well, all that applies unless Grease is your favorite. If he's your favorite, then you're objectively correct. Congratulations. We're nearing the end of today's video, so let's talk about the current owner of 3/4 of hell, Satan. If this iteration of the devil is your favorite character, you're probably as cynical as they come. When the literal incarnation of evil finds working for a living to be tedious, you know there's something wrong with the economy, and these serious societal issues are never lost on you. Of course, this doesn't stop you from doing what you like, whether it's playing an unspecified game that totally isn't just Minecraft, or ordering Uber Eats as much as your heart desires. You might just see your nihilism as a ticket to enjoy life with no strings attached. Just don't forget that there's always something to live for, and unlike Satan, it doesn't have to be torturing people. Focus on Minecraft-adjacent games, Uber Eats, and some other third thing. Find what motivates you to not let your little corner of hell freeze over. Oh, and if you're wondering why we didn't include Gilbert Gottfried on this list, come on, that just wouldn't be fair to the others. Moving from Satan to a character who's about as different from Satan as can be, next up is Shrimp. Like Grimbly, if you're a fan of Shrimp, you're no doubt a gamer, and you're at least somewhat more likely to struggle with social cues. But that doesn't mean you're a bad or even unpleasant person. The fact is, you know what you like and you aren't ashamed to enjoy it. Even if nobody understands your passions, you'll still pursue them, whether that's collecting every Mouse Quest figurine you can find or remaining loyal to your ex until there's no hope of her returning. It may not be the healthiest way of life, but you know how to be content in most situations, and that's good for you. Our best advice for you Shrimp fans is to be willing to get outside of your comfort zone and work on yourself. You're a nice person after all, so don't be too afraid to share that with the world. Now it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's Smormu, the fifth smiling friend. This cannot be undone. Smormu is here to stay. Oh, right. Well, aside from being in a seemingly endless state of mourning, if Smormu is your favorite character, you've got the most pure-hearted smiling friend mindset of all of us. Making people happy is all that matters in your heart. Even if it only lasts for a few seconds, you'll do whatever you can and whatever it takes to make the world a little bit happier. You're fully willing to use psychological manipulation to achieve this too, like somehow knowing exactly where the smiling friends will be so you can break it down in front of them to cheer them up. You're the one friend who comes in clutch when everyone else least expects it. Don't say boo-hoo just yet. We've still got two more characters to talk about, one of which being three-dimensional 3D Squleton. If he's your favorite kind of character design is so ugly it's cute, but you don't just judge by appearance. When you see a deformed, gray, claymation-looking dude sitting in the sandbox crying, your first question isn't, "Sir, should I call the police?" No, it's, "Hey man, are you good?" And good indeed is 3D Squleton. This guy's an absolute legend, and you are too for loving him. You're true to yourself and wear your heart on your sleeve, being more than willing to open up about how you feel and taking every opportunity you can to make connections. All around, you're an honest, kind-hearted person who wants the best for people, and maybe to be a balloon maker. For the grand finale, we'll go back to the first episode one more time to talk about Wall Guy. If this guy's your favorite, well, you might just be a fan of Stranger Things, but other than that, you love a good mystery, and you're probably still wondering what's on that computer screen. When it comes to life, you prefer things to be balanced. Without peace, you can't enjoy the chaos, but the reverse goes the same. And while it's fun to sometimes discover a strange homunculus suspiciously looking at a computer in your walls, it can be just as entertaining to just walk away from it without fanfare. So in his own words, yeah, bye.